And how about the Truth Social post on September 20th, 2025, in which the president said, "We can't delay any longer, Pam," using your name, "not bringing criminal charges are killing our reputation," his words, "and credibility." And then goes on to tell you to prosecute a member of this committee, to prosecute the Attorney General of New York, and to prosecute James Comey. Do you consider that a directive to the Justice Department?
Senator Klobuchar, President Trump is the most transparent president in American history. And I don't think he said anything that he hasn't said for years.
This exchange wasn't really about guns, and it wasn't really about Minnesota, Florida, or even Parkland. It was about whether the Attorney General of the United States is willing to say out loud that policy can save lives when it becomes politically inconvenient.
Recognized.
Thank you. Attorney General Bondi, good morning. I'm going to start on a different subject.
Good morning.
On behalf of families in my state. And I wanted to thank the FBI and the local justice officials in Minnesota, the U.S. Attorney's Office, for the work that they did catching the murder, in the horrific murder of my friend, Speaker Melissa Hortman, and her husband, and the shooting of Senator John Hoffman. Just last month, my state was again shaken to its core when a mass shooter attacked Annunciation Catholic Church in Minnesota, shooting through the stained glass windows, injuring 21 people, including 18 kids, killing little Fletcher, little Harper, an 8 and a 10-year-old, murdering them when they're in mass, praying, 12-year-olds protecting 8-year-olds. I know we've spoken about these tragedies, and we both agree that this kind of violence, whether in Minnesota or at a Mormon church in Michigan or the assassination of Charlie Kirk, has no place in our politics or in our democracy. In 2018, after the Parkland shooting, you were Attorney General, and there was a bill called the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act. And the bill banned bump stocks, enacted red flag laws, and raised the minimum age to purchase a firearm in Florida from 18 to 21. And you actually defended the law in court from a challenge from the NRA. And we know that I'm in favor of an assault weapon ban, period. I look at these bills and I think, does this hurt my Uncle Dick in the deer stand? We have a proud tradition of hunting in Minnesota. I don't think they do. But as I talked to Director Patel, and he told me in the chair you are sitting in right now, that assault weapon ban could prevent future attacks. I talked to him about better background checks, about red flag laws, and then that perhaps we could find common ground on what actually happened in Florida, which would be to at least change the minimum age for purchasing assault weapon, because we've got 18 to 20-year-olds commit gun homicides at over triple the rate of adults 21 years and over, even though that wouldn't helped in Annunciation Church because he was a few years older. She was a few years older. But as you know, the shooter at Parkland was 19 years old, and the shooters in Buffalo and Uvalde were both 18 years old. So given your efforts in Florida, do you agree that at least raising the age for purchasing assault weapons could reduce the number of these shootings?
Senator, first, that's pending litigation, and I can't discuss that at all. The 21 is pending litigation. I cannot discuss that.
In Florida?
But if I could go back
I really
the 21 age is pending litigation. I can't discuss that. But Senator, back to what you said about what happened in Minnesota, there is no place for that. And I believe I spoke to you after that horrific, those murders. And I'm so sorry that happened. And all of my federal agencies were partnering with state agencies, working hand in hand in Minnesota. What I can tell you about the Second Amendment is this is the most pro-Second Amendment DOJ in American history, as you know. But we want to keep guns, as you said, where they should be, in the hands of law-abiding American citizens, while keeping them out of the hands of criminals and gangs. Since January 20th, the ATF and FBI have seized more than 30,000 illegal guns.
I have 10 minutes.
30,000.
You have given these statistics, and I truly appreciate those statistics. But what I was just trying to get at was something where maybe we could find common ground on a bill that you actually defended in court in a state, which Director Patel seemed open to, and that was looking at, could we at least raise the age to 21 of the purchase of an assault weapon federally while states look at banning these weapons overall, given these little babies that this gun is used to kill. So we can talk about it later, but that was my question, and you don't want to answer it.
No, it's pending litigation, Senator.
Okay. But your views on this is not pending litigation. So I want to get to the independence of the Justice Department. At your nomination hearing, I specifically asked you to provide assurance to every member of this committee that the Justice Department will only follow the facts and the law, and the White House will play no role in the cases investigated or brought. You stated in response, this was you, politics will not play a part in my decisions. And you also said the Justice Department must be independent and must act independently. Do you believe that you have upheld that commitment?
I absolutely have upheld that commitment, Senator. I pledged that I would end the weaponization also of the Justice Department and that America would once again have a one-tier system of justice for all. And that is what we are doing in this country.
We saw this with the president directing an investigation prosecution of Chris Krebs, the former head of cybersecurity, Lisa Cook, who is a current governor of the Federal Reserve, Director Comey. And the president, and I know you have said that you will not discuss discussions you've had with the president about Comey. Is that correct? That you won't testify here about that? Because I was going to ask you if you received advice, instruction, or request from anyone at the White House to direct the department to engage in any investigations, prosecutorial actions, including decisions not to investigate or prosecute anyone.
I'm not going to discuss any conversations.
But then how about the Truth Social post on September 20th, 2025, in which the president said, "We can't delay any longer, Pam," using your name, "not bringing criminal charges are killing our reputation," his words, "and credibility." And then goes on to tell you to prosecute a member of this committee, to prosecute the Attorney General of New York, and to prosecute James Comey. Do you consider that a directive to the Justice Department?
Senator Klobuchar, President Trump is the most transparent president in American history. And I don't think he said anything that he hasn't said for years.
Okay, it has been reported that you initially pushed back against requests by senior Trump administration officials to push out or fire the acting U.S. Attorney in Virginia, Eric Siebert, who's a conservative Republican, who made the decision that the evidence was not there to prosecute Comey. What made you change your opinion?
I am not going to discuss personnel decisions.
Okay. Is it true that the career prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia found that there was insufficient evidence to bring criminal charges against former Director Comey?
I am not going to discuss pending cases because Comey was indicted in the Eastern District of Virginia by, I may point out, one of the most liberal grand juries in the country.
Amy Klobuchar opened with tragedy because tragedy is the unavoidable backdrop of America's gun debate, and she did it deliberately. She was testing whether past actions still mean anything in the present, whether defending gun safety once has any moral weight now, and whether the Justice Department is guided by evidence or by loyalty. If you want clear explanations of power, accountability, and what these moments actually reveal, subscribe to the channel. At the center of this clash is a simple question that keeps getting buried under legal jargon and deflection. Can raising the minimum age to buy assault-style weapons reduce mass shootings? Florida already answered that question once. After Parkland, the state raised the age to 21, enacted red flag laws, and banned bump stocks. Those were not radical ideas. They were bipartisan responses to bloodshed. Klobuchar wasn't asking Bondi to rewrite the Constitution. She was asking whether the same logic she defended before still applies now, especially when data shows 18 to 20-year-olds commit gun homicides at dramatically higher rates. The refusal to engage wasn't legal caution, it was political avoidance. If you want honest breakdowns of how policy debates get dodged in real time, subscribe to the channel. But the exchange becomes much more serious when it shifts away from guns and into the independence of the Justice Department. This is where the stakes explode. Klobuchar isn't speculating. She's pointing to public statements by a president openly calling for prosecutions, naming targets, and pressuring the Attorney General in plain sight. When an attorney general refuses to say whether that constitutes a directive, refuses to discuss whether the White House requested investigations, and refuses to explain why career prosecutors were overruled or fired, that's not neutrality, that's opacity. An independent Justice Department doesn't just claim independence, it demonstrates it under pressure. If you want analysis that cuts through the fog and explains why this matters to democracy itself, subscribe to the channel. What's especially telling is how often pending litigation and personnel decisions are used as shields. Those phrases are technically legitimate, but when they become universal answers, they stop protecting the law and start protecting power. You cannot claim a one-tier justice system while selectively declining to explain why certain prosecutions move forward against the advice of career professionals. You cannot say politics plays no role while declining to deny political influence. Silence in this context is not restraint, it's alignment. If you want content that doesn't let silence pass as accountability, subscribe to the channel. The deeper truth here is that Klobuchar wasn't trying to score points, she was laying down a record. These hearings are not just conversations, they are receipts. When future cases, firings, or prosecutions are examined, this exchange will matter because it shows what was asked, what was avoided, and what lines were never crossed verbally but may have been crossed institutionally. That's how democratic erosion happens, quietly, through unanswered questions and normalized deflection. If you want ongoing coverage that connects these moments and explains where they lead, make sure you subscribe to the channel.